Doom scrolling. What is it? And you already know.
A better you starts today.
For those of you who aren't as hip as me and aren't down with the net, doom scrolling is where you look at memes, which I assume is still successful black guy, victory baby. Is there any other memes? Oh, that's right, Chuck Norris memes. All of those. All of the things that the kids like to look at. It's endlessly going through Instagram, going through TikTok. 2 hours of my life have gone by. And at that point, it's not even because you don't even have the emotional capacity to do it. If you looked at my previous videos about TikTok, we talk about how much it shrinks your brain. We're talking about your emotional receptors. We're talking about your ability to think. We're talking about your general level of intelligence. All of that goes out the window when you're... And then after a while, haven't you realized this, that the things that piss you off and the things that make you happy go to when you feel more and more like the SpongeBob SquarePants meme that I am sure is still down and hip. It's a real raucous, that one. You know, the one where he's old. Not even old, sorry, he's just dehydrated. That's how you feel when you're doom scrolling, yes? And there is very good reasons for that, which is that it is restricting every facet of your brain to do anything except continue to scroll. It is unbelievably addictive. We know that this is going to be seen as the 21st century equivalent of cigarettes, but it is probably going to get more and more technologized to the point that it is just naturally in our brains and will be even dumber than we are now and be completely incapable of doing anything except watching a bunch of ads and Aiden Ross clips. Well, he'll be about 55 at this time. Still saying yo, still interviewing midgets. That's what we are going to avoid while we can. Until that day, I refuse to give up. We are going to fight back. Here's something interesting about doom scrolling. You are doing it, why? Obviously because it's a habit. Obviously because it's like nicotine and something just pings off in your head. The reason though is because through time, and by time I am assuming since about the age of 12 to now, and you haven't even realized that you've developed, you look down one day, oh my God, I've got pubes. Because you spend all of your time on the internet, you spend all of your time on your phone, you are so automized in the process of looking at the phone that your hand is essentially just an extension of the phone at this point. Be honest with yourself. You are scum, aren't you? I'm not though. You know why? Because as we always recommending, get yourself a dumb phone so you don't even have the option in the first place. Yes, I know that a bunch of people are going to be sitting there at the bottom. You know, you can just delete the apps. You know what else you could do though? You could just put the apps back on your phone. And you do. Don't sit there and pretend that you're above the rest of us. You're not so high and mighty. You're not the boss of me. Unless you are one of the patrons. Sign up to Jordan Shanks where you get up to 3 videos a week. All 3 videos are going to be these reminders that are going to be doing things that are getting you the absolute basics of success in the 21st century. And I will say it again. The main enemy to you succeeding in life is that you are a slave to your phone. You are not its master. If you become its master, the sky's the limit. Look at how many multi-millionaire 20-year-olds there are now from doing all sorts of dumb, basically pointless things, of sitting there on Twitch, reacting to things like you are. Just essentially, they are multi-millionaires of doom scrolling. What is the difference between those two? Just a couple of different actions that for whatever reason, their brain was able to switch to that before they just became even more part of the algorithm than you currently are. You slave. Now, let's go back into it. Sign up to Jordan Shanks though. You really won't regret it. It is honestly very important to have someone nagging you. It is. But when you are doom scrolling, all of those problems keep compounding. You waste days. All of it goes through the window. Did you know that before doom scrolling, the average American was watching 6 hours of television a day? Now, let's just take out that they were probably doing their 9 to 5s. So you've got your 8 hours of work there. Then on top of that, you're putting 14 hours into watching Walter Cronkite go, I can't believe it. They're actually dancing on the Berlin Wall. Then what do? I don't know, mow the lawn, as most Americans used to have a house. Am I right, millennials? and then you go to sleep so that you can repeat the process over and over again. You have been caught in a loop. Isn't that terrifying that you have a finite amount of time on this earth? You have all of these dreams that are getting drowned out every time that you are on one of these apps, which is another scary thing about it, which is that when you give yourself time to think, to sit there and be bored, your mind gets filled with things that you need to do. It gets filled with things that you want to do in the future. It gets filled with dreams. How important is that? It gets filled with, this is the ideal life that I would want to live. I really like this phrase. I think that you should write it down. And if you don't write it down, whatevs. But you can, please write this down if you can. I think that people have two lives in front of them all the time. They have the life that they are living now, and they have the life that they could be potentially living. This is why it's important to subscribe to this channel. It's even more important that you sign up to Jordan Shanks, because we are getting you to move to the life that you could be potentially living. I know that you have something. Everybody that is watching this now saying, "Oh, I don't have girls." Yeah, because you have drowned out every split second of your attention into things that have no impact on your life whatsoever, so you can feel smug about people's opinions on fucking Palestine, Israel. You know, like, you need time to think about what is important to you. That's why we're going to be trying to get rid of all of this doom scrolling. We have gone through a litany of tactics to stop that, or at the very least reduce it, because, do you remember this? Reducing your time on TikTok by 40 minutes a week rapidly increases your happiness. I can't remember by how much. I think it was 10%, 20%, something like that. That is a huge improvement from doing something that is really, really, really easy to do. You could limit it massively. I've always suggested to get off with apps like Freedom, apps like Self-Control. Limit it as much as you can. I understand. I am a filthy addict like the rest of you. The only reason that I don't do it is because I just block it out. I can't. I have no access to it except for 4 hours a day, and I'm going to try and reduce that down to 2 to 3 hours. And then I'm going to reduce it down to 2 hours. Now, obviously, I've got the same excuse like the rest of you that, oh, but I need the internet to use it to research all of the amazing facets of the world and use the internet to expand my mind. But really, what do we do every time we're on the internet? This enforces what I already believe. Which, by the way, thank you for doing that on this channel. That is what you're really using it for most of the time. This enforces, that made me feel a little bit funny. You're not learning shit. And so obviously you can reduce it more. I am a sinner just like you. I think that 4 hours a day is ridiculous. I'm sitting there being smug about people that were spending their time on the tube for 6 hours a day. Now, obviously, I'm not using that time to sit there and doom scroll the whole 4 hours, but a lot of that is obviously not effective time usage, is it? I am watching a lot of bullshit in that time. Yes. Yes, I am. But at least I have 20 hours a day where I have no access to it whatsoever. Imagine how much happier I am than you are. Probably, though, if you are doom scrolling the whole time. I mean, it has the word doom in it. You can't be happy with your situation. You can't. And then you get to the point, if you notice this, I see it all the time now. It is incredible to me. I feel like I'm living in a world of zombies. But I have a shitty phone that I've kept since year 7, thank you. One of those phones that just plays Snake. I've noticed that in every conversation I ever have, but just a few people, every time I'm talking to them, they pick up their phone and, you know, they could be mid-conversation. Hello? Hello? Oi! Oh. It's getting to that pathetic level. And then, isn't this amazing? This is how much it takes you out of your reality. Every time they say, what were we talking about again? So how are we going to get rid of this? Well, first off, I want you to write out a manifesto as to why this is terrible. I really want you to think about, it's called one of these Dickens patterns. Yeah, it's a Tony Robbins classic, but I think that this is very important because it is something that you use to try and get rid of the habit of smoking. This is the 21st century habit of smoking. So we are going to do this together. I want you to write out all the things that you have lost as a result of doom scrolling. This is the thing. This is the one thing that I really want you to aim at. If you have no other aims at life, if you are one of these people who are like, I don't have goals, this is your goal. This is your goal. Get rid of this so that you have time to think about goals. I want you to be able to reduce this immensely. So what we are going to do is you are going to be putting on your little happy YouTube music. I will give you full permission to stay on the internet for this point. Put on your little happy music. I don't know. Look, how good is this? Hang on. I really, really like this. I just downloaded it the other day. What's it called again? It's a very lame name. But you know all of those like 80s synthwave. That's all I listen to now. 80s synthwave. I hate lyrics. I think it ruined music. It's called, it's such a lame name though, but it's like, Call to Find Your Soulmate. I'm obsessed with it. It is such a good track. Goes for half an hour. Anyway, but yes, you are going to give yourself about 10 to 15 minutes. This is all this is going to take. And you are going to sit there and you are going to reflect, young man, on all of the things that you are missing out of on doom scrolling. I want you to think there and really think about one of those times where you're sitting there on fucking Pornhub for 2 hours. Just been, I've jerked it so much that it hurts. I want you to think about those times. I want you to think about what that cost you. Because everything that you are ever doing, ever, even things that you think are moving you towards your goals, always know there is something that you could be doing that is more efficient. Always. So there is always something that you are trading off for your time. That is the worst possible trade-off of time there is. Because not only is it not moving you towards your goals, but it is restricting your ability to move into your goals for the future. It is making you dumber. It is making you more of a It is making you more just terrible. I've realized I've got to stop swearing. I'm sorry. I will be putting a swear jar next to me and I will be donating that money to the Liberal Party. I'm going to stop doing that. But it is doing all of these terrible things to you in the future that is restricting your progress and your capacity to progress. Now, you are going to write down how that looks to you. How is this impinging on my life? How is this impinging on my future? You are going to write those down. You are also going to write down the alternative. You are going to write down, imagine if you gave yourself 2 extra hours a day, just 2 extra hours a day. What could you accomplish in those extra 2 hours? Think about that. That's 14 hours a week that you could be moving towards your goal. Don't tell me, I have a job, I don't have any free time. You have ample amounts of free time. It is incredible. When people come up to me and say, you don't know what it's like working a 9 to 5, I always say, you don't know what it's like working from 10 to 2 every single day. That's what happens. I just keep working until I pass out. There's a way that you get there. If you sign up to Jordan Shanks, I can tell you that way. And the way that you get that effective is first off by eliminating all of the things that are making you ineffective. This is the thing that is destroying your life the most. So you are going to be writing down what your life looks like now, what it is going to look like in the future if you continue, and then you are going to write an alternative for that. This is why it's called the Dickens pattern, because you've got the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas future. Whoop-de-doo, I've got time to change. So you are going to write down what your life will look like if you get rid of this. What you will be spending that time on, which is your most precious asset that you have. What is your life going to look like if you stop doom scrolling? I'll see you another time. I don't know when I upload. I'll come up with some sort of schedule.